So for capitalization, there's a few rules about when we capitalize words and don't. Now, like I said, Violet, if you want, you can just watch my screen. If you want to open this up, it is in our notebook, so you can take a look at these notes as well. But if you want to just follow along on my screen, that's absolutely fine. Okay. So we are taking a look at capitalization rules. And like I said, there are different rules about when we capitalize words and don't. So we're going to start off with rule number 1. The good thing is there's a lot of these rules that we kind of already know because we practice them so much, even though we might not know it's a rule. Rule number 1, capitalize the first word of every sentence. Every sentence. Does not matter where it is or what it's about. The beginning of a sentence should be capitalized, whatever that first word is. Number 2, this is another one that we've also practiced and you guys have been pretty good about. Always capitalize the pronoun I. So whenever you use the word I and you use it like a word, like a pronoun, meaning that you're talking about yourself, you always capitalize it. No matter where it is in the sentence, whether it's the first word or a word in the middle or a word at the end, you always, always, always capitalize. We talked about this one earlier. Capitalize people's names or titles. And we actually talked about this last week as well. So titles. Remember, titles are parts of people's names that aren't their actual names. So last week we talked about like police officers and doctors and things like that. When you see someone who's a police officer and whoever it might be, let's say officer, I don't know, Officer Gonzalez. Okay? When Officer Gonzalez was born, their parents didn't go, "What a beautiful baby." Their first name is Officer. Officer is not their name. Officer is a title. It's something that people call them because of their job or because of what they've done. But you still capitalize officer like it is their name. The same thing is true of doctors. Ezekiel, put it away for now, sir. The same thing's true of doctors. So doctors, again, when they're born, their parents don't look at them when they're babies and go, "Oh, this beautiful baby, your name is Doctor." Doctor is not their name. Doctor is a title. In that case, they get the title doctor because they went to school and they made sure that they didn't stop when they finished high school. They kept going after high school. They went to college, and then even in college, there's different degrees that you can get. And they went and they got a doctorate degree, so they call them doctor. If it's something like people in the military, military have all sorts of different titles that they might get depending on what their rank is. So somebody that has been in the military for longer or has worked very hard in the military might be like a captain or a general or things like that. And when you earn those ranks, you get a title that goes along with it. So exactly, sergeant. So sergeant, again, when your dad was born, they didn't go, "This beautiful baby's name is Sergeant." But sergeant, because he worked hard, because he did all that work to become a sergeant, we put it usually in front of his name and we capitalize it when we talk about him. So it'd be sergeant and then the last name. So names or titles, both of them get capitalized. Now there's also titles that we usually give to anyone, would be like Mr. or Miss or Mrs. Those are also capitalized, but again, nobody was named Mr. when they were born or Miss when they were born, Mrs. when they were born. But you have that title. Usually we use that for like adults. But We can use it for people who are younger too. 4, you capitalize cities, you capitalize states, countries, and continents. So it's not just the names of people that you capitalize. Names of places also get capitalized. So if it could be something like a city like El Paso, it could be a state like Texas, a country like the United States, or even a continent like North America. So we go from cities, which is the smallest one on this list, slightly bigger, the state, bigger than that, the country, even bigger than that, continent. Okay. Keeping on with that idea of capitalizing not just the names of people, but of places, the name of an island or of a body of water. So, really quickly, bodies of water just means any big collection of water. So, something like your bathtub wouldn't be a big collection of water, it would just be your bathtub. But bigger things like lakes and oceans, those are what they mean when they say bodies of water. So, like the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, the Indian Ocean, the Antarctic Ocean, or rivers like the Rio Grande. That gets capitalized too. It's the name of a river. Or mountains, like the Davis Mountains. A little bit smaller than these other ones, the bodies of water and the mountains and things like that. But streets, highways, parks. Again, if it's the name of a specific place. So if you just say, I'm going to the park, that's not capitalized. You're not being specific. When you say, I'm going to the park, what park do you mean? Because there's not just one park. There's not one park in El Paso. There's not just one park in the whole world. So when you say, I'm going to the park, you're not giving us a name. But when you say, I'm going to Veterans Park, then you give it a name and then you're being specific. The name of your street, whatever street you live on. Again, there's not just one street in all of El Paso, there's all sorts of streets. So when you're writing your address, you capitalize the name of that street. Harley. That's cool. That's a great example. You're not just saying, "Oh, at the park." You're saying at Veterans Park. That's pretty tough. But exactly. So Veterans Park. You're not just saying, "Oh, it's a park somewhere." I don't know which one. You're saying Veterans Park. I know exactly which park. Okay. This one is kind of tricky. Number 7. We're going to talk about this a little. You capitalize north, south, east, west only when they refer to a location, not direction. Okay? The easiest way that I've kind of thought of to tell the difference is usually when you're giving directions to somebody, you're trying to tell them how to get there, right? Like if somebody tells you or they asked you, "Hey, how do you get to Circle K?" You could tell them, "Oh, you go down the street and then you got to turn left and then you got to go straight, but when you get to the third house, you go right and then it's right there on the corner." So when you're giving directions to somebody, a lot of times you're pointing. You'll tell them, "Oh, you go that way," or "You got to turn right," or "You go down the street." Do a lot of pointing when you're giving directions. So if you're saying north, south, east, or west when you're giving directions, if somebody asks you, "Hey, how do I get to the movie theater?" You tell them, "Oh, you got to go east," or you tell them, "Oh, you got to go north." Those don't get capitalized. Those stay lowercase. But when it's talking about locations, like sometimes people will say, like for different restaurants or different stores, they might say, "Oh, Um, I need to go to Target. And since we have more than one Target, you might say, oh, are you going to go to the one on the east side or the one on the west side? We're not giving the directions. We're not pointing them, telling them, oh, you go east or you go west. So when you say something like that as a location, then you capitalize. Like, oh, I went to Target on the west side of town. That gets capitalized. Or I went to Target on the east side of town. That gets capitalized. So long as you wouldn't be pointing when you say that, and you're not giving directions, then they're capitalized. Otherwise, lowercase. Okay. Another one that's talking about places. Capitalize businesses, firms, and organizations. Organization just means like a team or a group. Again, here they give us a very important reminder. Don't capitalize of. So very, very short words, the names of a business, of an organization or a team, of stays lowercase unless it's the very first word of that name. And usually words like of are not going to be the first. So a business or a team, if you had the word of in the middle of it, let's say if there was a business like a bank called, I don't know, the Credit Union of El Paso. So that's the name of the business, Credit Union of El Paso. You would capitalize credit, you would capitalize union, you would capitalize El Paso, so the E and the P, but of, since it's in the middle of that title, stays lowercase. Oh, does anyone else see that? No? I see some no's, I see some yeses. Oh, you could try reloading it, Brenna, and see if that helps you. If not, though, it might just be the internet being a little. Okay. Another one, talking about groups. You would capitalize an institution or a government group. So a government group would be like the CIA or the FBI, and usually we use those as acronyms. So just the letters of the first letters of the words. But for something like, say, the FBI, you would have the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So again, you capitalize federal, you capitalize bureau, you capitalize investigation, but of stays lowercase. And you can tell because whenever anyone talks about the FBI, they don't say the FBI, just FB, because of stays lowercase. Capitalize special events like holidays, days of the week, or months of the year. Who can give me an example for this one? There's a lot of these. What's an example of a special event or a holiday, a day of the week, or a month of the year that you would capitalize? Kaylee, can you say it again a little louder, please? Memorial Day. You capitalize Memorial Day. It's a holiday. What's another thing we would capitalize that matches this rule? Special events, holidays, days of the week, and months of the year. Kaylee said Memorial Day. What's another one? Bella? Tuesday. We capitalize Tuesday. Jadine. Christmas and Halloween. So both of those get capitalized. Do we have any more? Bella, you have another one. Not a year. Now, if it's a month, If it's a day of the week, yes. But the year, we don't capitalize those ones. September. September, we would capitalize. Highly. Did we say Valentine's? No, not yet. So Valentine's Day. New Year's Eve, also a holiday. We would capitalize that one. For a second, Carly, I thought you said Batman's Day, and I was going to tell you that sounds like the coolest holiday I've ever heard. Haley? Okay, Thanksgiving. That's another one. Brianna? April Fool's Day. Bailey? Christmas, we said that one earlier, but you're right. Christmas gets capitalized. Violet? Hanukkah, Easter, both of those get capitalized. Messiah? Okay, Labor Day. Okay. Number 11. Capitalize the names of races and of nationalities. So, a nationality just means like where the country where something comes from. So, an example. If um if when you go to the store, you've ever seen, and there's different kinds, but usually the one people think of is it's called abuelita, and it looks like a yellow box, and it's not a regular square box shape, it's like a hexagon type shape, and it's got a little old lady on the cover. But if you've ever gotten those, it's these big thick chunks of chocolate. Use them to make hot chocolate with, right? So that style of hot chocolate is something that you see more in Mexico. So a lot of people call it like Mexican hot chocolate. Mexican is the nationality. It's that country that's coming from. Jaylene, I like it. I think it's really good. Or when we talk about different types of food and things like that, when we talk about what country they came from, we would capitalize that. So if you're going to go get, let's say, Italian food, you're gonna get, I don't know, spaghetti. Italian, you would capitalize it. It's that country that it came from. Okay. You'd also capitalize the names of religions and the full name of a church. So churches are kind of like parks where if you just say, I'm going to church, or we passed by the church, you don't capitalize that because there's not just one church, there's multiple churches. But if you're specific about which church you pass and you say the whole name, and usually churches have longer names, but if you say the whole name of the church, then you would capitalize it because you're being specific about what church you're talking about. Yes, Violet. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Number 13. If it's the brand name of some kind of product, whatever product it is, you capitalize it. So brand names are just kind of when you're being specific. If I said soda, soda is not a brand name. Soda could be anything. There's tons of different flavors. Brand names are when I'm being specific. Who can give me a brand name of soda that I would capitalize? So if instead of saying, "Oh, I drank a soda," I could say, "I drank a what?" Kylie? Okay, so a Sprite or a Fanta, an orange Fanta even. So you'd capitalize Sprite or Fanta. What's another one? So not just I drank a soda, I drank a what? Kaylee? So I drank a Pepsi, I drank a Coca-Cola, I drank a Dr. Pepper, any of those. Brianna. A Canada Dry, that's another one. Jadine. Oh, someone already had your idea. Violet? Yeah. Um, okay, that's closer. That's a flavor of soda, but what's a brand of root beer, Violet? There's a couple that I always think of. Okay. The one with the bulldog on it. That one is called Barks. Barks root beer. So Barks would get capitalized. Kylie, you got another one? 7 Up. 7 Up would be another one. Oh, yeah? Messiah, what's another one? Mountain Dew. That would be one that we capitalize. Jaylene? Oh, they took your idea. Okay. Nobody said Jaritos. Exactly what I was thinking about. That was the first thing that I thought of. But you're right. 7 Up, Coca Cola, all of that. Jaritos, you've never seen those, Messiah? Those are delicious sodas. They come in really skinny bottles, and they're usually pretty tall. And they're glass, but sometimes you can find them in plastic ones. Like at the gross, I think at gas stations like 7-Eleven and stuff like that, they might have some plastic ones. But man, they are tasty. They're really good. They have all sorts of different flavors. Usually they're fruit flavors. So they have like lime, they have fruit punch, different things like that. They have some that are really good. They have like tamarindo flavor. Those ones are super tasty. But that doesn't just apply for sodas. That also applies for cookies. What's a brand name of cookie? So instead of just saying I'm eating cookies, what's a specific brand of cookies you might eat? Bailey, what's a specific brand of cookie you might eat? That's a kind of cookie, but I need a brand. So when you're going to the store, you're going to Walmart, and you go through the cookie aisle, and you see all the different packages of cookies. There are a couple of different companies that make chocolate chip cookies. But what's one kind of cookie? Like if mom or dad asked you, "Hey Bailey, I'm going to the store. What kind of cookies do you want?" What's a brand you might tell them? Okay? Which ones? Sugar. Sugar is another type of cookie, but it's not the name of a brand. Brianna. Chips Ahoy is one. So you might say, "Can I have some Chips Ahoy cookies?" What's another one besides Chips Ahoy? Alexa. Oreos. Oreos are probably my favorite if I had to pick a favorite. Violet? Little Debbie. So they make cookies and all sorts of stuff, right? Kylie. So they do have the Oreos, and then they have yeah, Oreo mint. You're right. They also have different ones like the Keebler ones, one with the little elves on them. Kaylee. Well, Oreos would be the brand name. Peppermint is just like the flavor of them because they have like chocolate Oreos, they have the regular Oreos, they have double stuff Oreos, but all of them are still Oreos. Or they have the ones, I don't know if you guys have ever seen them. They usually come in like packages. They're big square looking packages, but they're called grandma's cookies, and they're really really big cookies. But that would be an example of the brand name of cookies. It's not just any cookies; it's the grandma cookies. Janine, a store name, yeah. So we talked earlier about like businesses. So if you say I'm going to the store, and that's all you say, it's lowercase. But if you tell me I'm going to Walmart or Target or Lowe's, whatever, all of those get capitalized because now I know what store you're going to. Restaurants too, same thing as the stores, they're businesses. Yep, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Chili's, all of those you would capitalize. Violet. Oh, the Danish cookies. Danish cookies would be the type of cookies, I think. I think the brand is called Royal Dansk, if I'm not mistaken. It's the one that's on the lid, but I know which one you're talking about. Those cookies, I really, really like, Violet. Those cookies are dangerous. I always go by and I get one, and then I come by again and I'll get another one, and then eventually I'm like, who left all these paper wrappers everywhere? Yeah. You know what? They make really good things to store things in. They lock nice and tight, and they don't get all bent up and things like that. They work pretty well. Okay, this is one we've talked about before. So hang on. Relatives' names. Okay? Relatives' names. A couple of times or a couple of reasons why you might capitalize. If it immediately comes before a personal name. So if you're going to say, let's say, Uncle Ben, Uncle gets capitalized because you're treating it almost like a title or part of his name. He's not just Ben, he's Uncle Ben. Or if you use that title or that relation, that relative on its own instead of using their name. I'll give you an example. Hang on, Kaylee. I'll give you an example. If um, you had the sentence, Jennifer, Jennifer painted the side of the house. That sentence is completely fine. But what if Jennifer was your mom? You might say, Mom painted the side of the house. In that case, you're using mom like it's her name. So if you use something like that, a relation, a relative, if you use that as their name instead of their name, you capitalize it. But a big clue here, and they give us a reminder here, don't capitalize the relative's name if you see these words in front of it. A, the, and, my, his, her, our, your, or their. The one that I see the most often is my. So if you say, my uncle is picking me up later, you don't capitalize uncle because you're not using it like his name anymore. And you can always check by replacing it with a name. So instead of saying, my uncle is picking me up later, would it make sense to say, my Christopher is picking me up later? Or if I said, um, my mom is buying McDonald's. It wouldn't make sense to say my Brianna is buying McDonald's. So when you see words like that, my or his or her, because again, it wouldn't make sense if you changed it to his Brianna is buying McDonald's or her Christopher is painting the house. But if it was just mom or dad by itself, mom is buying McDonald's. If I tried replacing that with a name, Brianna's buying McDonald's, yeah, the sentence is still okay. That means mom should get capitalized because it's being used like a name. Okay, Kaylee, you had something to say earlier. Oh, for the name one? Okay. Okay. Three more. Titles of a movie, of a book, of a story, songs, anything like that. Again, the name of a specific one. So if Ezekiel told me, I'm listening to music, but doesn't tell me the name of the song, then it stays lowercase. It's just music. I don't know which music. If Ezekiel tells me, I'm listening to, I don't know. Ezekiel tells me, okay, to Imagine Dragons. It's the name of a band. I would capitalize that. Or if you say the name of a song. So since we're talking about Imagine Dragons, if you said something like, I'm listening to Radioactive, you capitalize Radioactive. You're being specific about the song you're listening to. Same thing is true for movies, for books. So not just I'm watching a movie or I'm reading a book. If you tell me the title gets capitalized. Now this one says all the main words. So again, if you take longer titles like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which is pretty long, you capitalize the main words, but the short words like and, the, they lowercase. Who can give me a specific title for a movie or a book? What would be the name of a specific book or a specific movie that you could watch or that you could read? Annabelle, Masayu said The Secret Life of Pets. That's another one. And I like that one because it has examples of lowercase and capital letters. Alexa. Okay, Trolls. That would be another one. Kylie? Okay. Frozen 2, Violet. You're right. Christopher? Project Power. Coco. Very good job with the Coco brand. One of my favorites. Jaylene? Zootopia. Christopher? What's a movie or a book that you could give me a specific title of? Your microphone's already on, Christopher. You just need to talk. Sonic the Hedgehog. So any of those would be capitalized. Yeah, Total Drama. Batman, any of the Batman movies. Kylie? That would be another one that would be capitalized. Dogman for a book. Kidding? Okay, Harley Quinn. Okay. Last two. Capitalize the date. When it says capitalize the date, it's not talking about like two people that get dressed up and they go out to eat dinner together and go see a movie. Not that kind of date. Capitalize the date means like what day of the year is it? So like today is September the 14th. So that would be a date. Salutations. Salutations are the very beginning of that letter. When you say like to whom it may concern, or when you say dear Jada, or um, dear Nakai, whoever, you capitalize those. And this one's something that people mess up on. The first word in the closing, the letter. So at the end of the letter, when you say something like your friend or best wishes or anything like that, you don't capitalize everything. You only capitalize the first word. So if you end a letter with something like best wishes, you capitalize the B in best, but not wishes. Or if you said something like your friend, capitalize your, but not friend. And of course, people's names whenever you're writing a letter. So those parts of a letter you capitalize. The date, the salutation, so the very beginning, you're saying dear whoever, and at the closing, that first word. And the last thing, last rule for capitalizations, you capitalize the first word in a quote. So whenever someone starts talking, that first word after the quotation marks, you always capitalize it. The only time you don't is if you broke up what they said and you put it into two parts. So if you had like a full sentence that somebody said and you broke it up into different pieces, if you said something like, I'm hungry, Nakai said. Pizza sounds good. All of what Nakai said would have been, I'm hungry, pizza sounds good. But we broke it up in the middle by putting that Nakai said in the middle. So we would capitalize the I'm hungry part, but the pizza sounds good part stays lowercase. We're going to be working more with capitalization this week. A bit more chances to find different things to capitalize and when not to capitalize. But we're going to stop with the capitalization there for today.